I Am Not a Number, Part 2. Don't make me go back, please, I pleaded with my parents. I had slowly begun to tell them what had happened to us at the school. Dad's eyes darkened when I talked about Sister Mary's lessons, and Mom covered her ears and could not bear to listen. I need to find a way to keep you here, my father said. We must have a plan. I clenched my hands into tight fists. Yes, we need a plan. But what? But if we disobey, what will they do to us? Mom asked. Let them do what they want, Dad said. We won't send our children back to that place. We'll hide them. Make sure the Indian agent can't find them. We all started to talk at once. We could hide upstairs in the bedrooms, but the Indian agent would search every corner to find us. We could hide behind the house, but we would be easily spotted back there. We could run to the lake and hide among the reeds, but no, they were not thick enough to conceal us. Then Dad suggested something. You could hide in my shop. My father had a taxidermy shop on our land that was close enough to run to, yet separate from the house. Will it work? I wondered. Will my father's shop give us the protection we need? I looked at my brothers and at my parents. We nodded our heads in quiet agreement, a silent pact. We had a plan, and the summer was slipping away. When the dreaded day arrived, I was in the yard helping Mom hang laundry. The wind blew my hair around my face. My hair was growing. Soon it would reach down my back. He's coming! My older sister's shout cut through the air. I dropped the laundry basket and peered around the corner of the house. There he was, my kidnapper. The same Indian agent who had taken me away a year earlier was marching up the road, one determined step after another. Mom froze in place, looking as frightened as I felt. Then my father ran out the back door with Ephraim and George just ahead of him. Irene, he grabbed my shoulders, you and the boys go and hide in the shop. My feet would not move. Don't let him take me away, I begged. Run, my father ordered. He turned me around and shoved me forward. I tripped and then regained my footing. We had a plan and it was time to put it into action. My brothers were sprinting across the property, and I set off too. We ran for our lives until we reached the shop and pushed the door open and tumbled inside. Hide, I shouted. We dove behind some large crates, settling in where we couldn't be seen. From where I hid, I could see through a window to the outside. Before long, I spied the Indian agent striding up the path with my father close behind. I placed my finger across my lips to warn George and Ephraim to be quiet. Then the door creaked open. I know you're in here. I remembered the voice of the Indian agent. Sweat trickled down my back. I sent the children to stay with family farther north. It was my father's voice. Don't know when they'll be back. I moved my head ever so slightly to try and see what was happening. The Indian agent, feet apart, arms crossed, was staring at my father. You'd better not be lying, Ernest, he snarled. You'll be in a lot of trouble if you don't send your kids back to school. Then my loving father, chief of the community, strong and wise, raised himself up to full height. Do whatever you want, he replied in a voice that was low and even. Call the police, have me arrested. You will never take my children away again. Seconds that felt like forever passed. My father stared at the Indian agent, and the agent glared back at him. I held my breath. Would the agent leave? Would we be discovered? I glanced over at Ephraim and George. Their eyes had grown wider than full moons. A lifetime, an eternity. Then, Without another word, the Indian agent turned and left the shop. For a while, no one moved, uncertain that danger had passed. But when my father slowly turned around and stretched his arms wide, the three of us tumbled from our hiding places and flung ourselves into his embrace. I was laughing and crying at the same time and shaking from head to toe. We were safe. I was Irene Cooch, daughter of Ernest and Marianne Cooch, and I was home.